Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Tip Tuesday. Geoffrey Nance here with you. Last week, we started a series on running your trading race. We're going to continue that series. Last week, we talked about the three things that we're going to focus on here, our why, our goals, and then like what motivates us, what truly motivates us, what gets us going. And then how do we do this over a long period of time? So we talked about this idea of consistency and continuation. So next week, we're actually going to look at kind of a different topic. We're going to talk about how do we not get hurt. So how can we not get hurt with running our trading race? So we're gonna look at several different ways we can do that. But for today, let's talk a little bit about something we mentioned last week, which was our goals. Now, one of the things I mentioned last week, which was a really, really big deal, is that we ought to have goals that are monetary, yes. But what's truly going to motivate us is not necessarily a monetary goal as it is the thing behind the monetary goal. That's why the why is so important. But as I mentioned last week, and I wanted to go into greater detail this week, what is a goal really? What is it that we are really trying to achieve? So let's just use the actual running a race analogy here. So when I have a goal, what is my goal? So I've told you guys I don't necessarily like running, and yet sometimes I do it. So why? Why do I do it? What motivates me? What is my goal when I'm out there running? Well, I'll share a little bit with you guys personally. My goal is just to finish. So whatever length I'm supposed to run that day, I'm just out there running and I'm just kind of looking ahead like, okay, there's 1-8, 2-8, 3-8, 4-8, 5-8, 6-8, 7-8. Yes, I'm almost there. Finished. Like that's it for me. If I got to run 2 miles and I'm like, I don't even really start kind of paying attention to there's a quarter, there's a half a mile, that kind of thing. But the goal for me is just simply to finish. And guys, I'll tell you this about myself. Like once I start something, I'm going to finish it. And I hope that you have that same attitude when it comes to your trading, that regardless of what your monetary goals are, that your goal is to finish what you've started. And again, I don't want to see you bow out early. I don't want to see you quit the race. If we quit the race, normally that means something was wrong. So either we got hurt, which is what we're going to talk about next week, or we just simply ran out of motivation. We were just like, just not worth it anymore. I just don't want to do it. It's not worth it. So let's talk a little bit about how we can define whether or not this whole trading running thing is even worth it. So when I get out there and I'm running, I told you that my focus is on finishing. But when I'm out there running and I'm not really liking it, what helps me get to the finish? I want to talk a little bit about that, and then let's translate that into how I think that impacts you as a trader. When I'm out there running, if I just sit there and I focus the whole time on how much I hate running, it makes the whole thing harder. All right. It makes the whole thing harder. So the first thing I want to say to you guys about setting a goal is set your goal, at least your initial goals, at something that's very feasible, like something that's really easy for you to hit. There's something about reaching our goals that is internally motivating. If you set your goals so high that you actually don't achieve it, it will, for most people, it actually ends up having the opposite effect, where instead of getting you excited or thinking, oh, I almost reached my goal, you just focus on, I failed again. And at the end of every month, you're like, I still haven't hit my goal. I don't know that I'm ever going to hit my goal. So now you, whether it's consciously or not, are starting to think about trading in a negative light because you have a good, high and lofty goal. And look, I'm all for good, high, lofty goals. Let's do it, right? Let's champion the cause, right? But what I've found, right, is that you really want to set goals that are really reachable. So what is something that's really attainable for you? And then not only is something attainable, but is it sustainable? So in other words, if you reached a goal, is it likely that you're going to be able to do that same thing next month? Or you're going to be able to do something similar to that or above that the following month and the following month and the following month after that? If that's the case, then you've set a reasonable goal. And here's what I would say to you guys. Listen, when I'm out there running, and my goal is to go a mile, I don't necessarily finish a mile and go, wow, all right, let's just go for 2 next time. Now, again, I can run 3 miles, right? I don't know how much I could run because I've never felt the desire just to go see, right? Again, that seems like you would just be like trying to do it for fun, not out there for fun. I'm running for health benefits, and not for fun. So I'm not going to test my limits because I'm just like, don't care. Here's a mile. I'm done. That kind of thing. There's 2 miles. Yeah, that's really good. 3 miles, I save that for maybe once or twice a year, that kind of thing, right? So I'm not out there necessarily testing my limits, but what I've found is that I can run a mile, right? It's not easy for me necessarily. I know that sounds sad to some of you guys. It's just not. It's a lot further than you think, unless you're a runner and you guys are like, I know, like I have runners in my family, my son and my wife, and my wife used to run marathons, and my son's a cross country runner, and he was out there running 13 miles a day, and I'm like, no, thank you, not interested in that at all. Like spending hours of my life running, that sounds miserable. Like, to me, that's not fun. So that is never a goal for me. Like I don't have a goal. I don't think I will ever have a goal in my life to be like, hey, I want to go run 5 miles or 10 miles. It's not even a thing for me. It's not motivating to me. It's not feasible to me. It's certainly not fun. So that if that same thing, guys, is me, and you're hearing me say that, but you're going, that's my trading goals, and that's your mindset, man, you're just going to put yourself in a position where you're just likely to fail. At some point, your motivation is going to wane simply because your goal is too high, and then your inability to reach it or to reach it consistently is going to wear you out. It's just going to be physically draining. So set smaller goals, set achievable goals. Here's the thing I want to tell you guys about goals. Whether it's working out in the gym or whether it's running or it's trading, whatever your analogy is, losing weight or whatever, that reaching goals should motivate you. Okay? I run a program, and one time a guy, because we have monthly goals in that program, and we used to hold people really accountable in that program, and it was supposed to be for their good, right? We hold each other accountable, we lift you up, we encourage you, all those biblical things. This guy just called me up. He's like, Geoffrey, I can't do it. It's like too much stress for me. And I was like, what? Reaching goals is too stressful. I was like, then let's just lower your goals, not quit the program. But in his mind, he's like, if I can't reach the goals, I'll just quit the program. And I'm like, that's not what I was trying to do at all. So guys, if that's you and your goals are actually discouraging you, lower your goals. Lower your goals. And look, this isn't me going, hey, I don't want you making any money. I don't want you really, pushing yourself, because you can push yourself too far too fast and actually hurt yourself and actually not do yourself any favors. Right. And then again, same thing applies to the gym, to their run. I'm not going to go out there and try to run a marathon. That sounds terrible. Plus, I'll probably hurt myself doing it. I'm not ready for that. I haven't reached that point. Some of you guys have lofty goals, but if you're being realistic, you're not ready for those goals because you haven't reached that point. And for some reason, even though we realize with weight loss, right, you're not just going to go out there and lose 50 pounds overnight, right? Not if you're just doing, without surgery or something like that. So it's not reasonable. You're not going to go out there and say, hey, I'm used to sitting on the couch for 12, 14 hours a day, but I think I can go run a marathon. We just don't have that approach, right? We don't have that same thing. And yet we've got people that have never traded, and all of a sudden they're like, I think I should be making $10,000 a month or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50. I'm like, why? Why do you think that? Like that's trying to go from sitting on the couch all day to like, I can run a marathon. Like, can you do it? Is it possible? Sure. But are there like a bunch of steps between where you are and that goal? Absolutely. So what I would really encourage you guys is to say, listen, is my goal motivating me or is it demotivating me? Like, is it actually discouraging me because I've actually set it too high? Here's the reason I think you should set a small goal, because I've worked with a lot of people that have ended up reaching really high goals. And most of those guys started out with really low goals. Okay. And again, whether it's lifting weights, whether it's running, I'm going to go run a quarter of a mile, right? I mean, I don't want you running a quarter of a mile a year from now either. So let's go ahead and establish that. You can have a low goal now, but you shouldn't have that same goal a year from now either. What I think you're going to find is even if you have a low trading goal, if you can reach that goal consistently for about 3 or 4 months, what you're going to have done in the process of meeting that goal regularly for 3 or 4 months is established healthy habits that are going to prove to you that you can do it. And what I've found most of the time is if you can reach a small goal for at least 3 or 4 months, you're going to be in a position to go ahead and raise that goal. I don't mind you raising your goal, guys, but again, when we get to a point where we're ready to raise our goal, let's do it realistically. Let's not go from running a mile, once a week or twice a week to being like, all right, let's go for 5 miles. No. We want to do 1.5 miles? We want to do maybe, can you double it up? Can you do 2 miles? But let's not go from like a mile to saying, well, now I'm ready for, 10 miles. But no, build up. And if you find that you're enjoying it and you like it and your body's getting adjusted and you can do this, then great. Go for a loftier goal. If you find out in your trading, hey, I've set a small goal, but I've reached it, not just 1 month, but 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. After about 4 to 6 months, then go ahead and change your goal, but don't change it for like 4 to 6 months. Keep your goal the same for at least half a year. And if you've met that goal consistently, or you've done better than that goal consistently, then look at what your consistent numbers are and then raise your goal up to that amount. But again, all this stuff comes full circle. If you raise that goal up, make sure that that's a reasonable goal that's not going to stress you out. It's a goal that you're going to be able to reach with some work, yes, but not by stressing yourself out, not by putting pressure on yourself, or not by setting it so lofty that you're actually going to find I'm not really reaching that goal. And now instead of being motivated by the goal, I'm actually burdened by the goal. That's not how goals are supposed to work. Okay. So our goals ought to motivate us, but they also need to be attainable and reasonable. And here's another word I want you to add to those things: proportional. Okay. Proportional. As you meet goals and you've sustained the ability to meet those goals consistently, then over a period of time, raise your goals. Meet that goal consistently over time. If you've been able to do that, raise your goal again. And then at each step, make it a true step, not a leap from one to another. Make it a step. Remember, the last thing I'm going to say here about goals: goals are supposed to motivate us. Meeting goals is supposed to be fun. Celebrate your goals. Celebrate your goals. Don't just look at a goal and go, hey, I met my goal. All right, now it's time to move it up. You won. Celebrate meeting your goal. You met your goal consistently. Celebrate meeting your goal consistently. Guys, it's not really a goal if it doesn't motivate you. Okay? If it doesn't motivate you, it's not really a goal. So set goals, but then celebrate meeting goals. And what you're going to find is over time, again, you're going to establish a healthy habit that I set goals that are attainable, but when I meet them, I celebrate them. And that in and of itself is exciting. That's worth celebrating. And then again, that's going to motivate me maybe to go to the next level, but do it within reason, right? So there is a progress to our goals. Let's make them proportional. Let's make them reasonable, and let's celebrate them when we reach them. Guys, those are really good things for you to do when it comes to goals. One last thing here. Remember, attach a monetary goal, yes, but attach something or someone to that goal. Because ultimately what you're going to find is money is a motivator, but people and things are likely to motivate you more. So once you've reached your goal, who benefits? How do you celebrate that? Why is that thing worth doing? Why is it worth continuing to do over and over and over again from month to month, from year to year? Go find that and then string all those things together. And I think when you're doing that, you're going to find that you're going to have some good goals. You're going to be running that race, and you might just look up and realize, hey, maybe I actually do enjoy running this race, and it's fun to meet my goals. I'm definitely looking forward to celebrating them. Thanks for being with us for another Tip Tuesday. We'll see you guys next time.